Before we begin, I'll outline the procedure that will follow for this public hearing. As each agenda item is called, the applicant or representative can speak on behalf of the request. Any people against the request will be allowed to speak. If there is opposition to the request, the applicant will be allowed to make a short rebuttal. All people wishing to speak need to come to the microphone at the front of the room. Please state your name and address for the record, and please keep your statements to under 3 minutes. If there are multiple people that would like to speak, we encourage you to allow 1 or 2 people to act as a spokesperson for the group. While public discourse is very important to the commission, we have to maintain order in the meeting so that all people may be heard and city business may be conducted. If so directed by me, the Sergeant at Arms shall remove from this meeting any person while addressing the commission or while attending the commission meeting that comes disrespectful, boisterous, or making impertinent remarks. The commission members have reviewed each of these items in a previous work session. The recommendations we make tonight to the City Council will be based on the work session and the information provided by staff, as well as any additional information presented tonight. After completing the hearing on each item, the commission will consider action on the item. The action taken tonight on all items except for the plats will be in the form of a recommendation to the City Council. The City Council will also conduct public hearings on all items excluding the plats. Public hearings for all remaining cases will be held on Tuesday, March 18th, 2025 in the Bosque Theater of the Waco Convention Center at 100 Washington Avenue. The first item on our agenda is approval of the minutes of our January 28th, 2025 work session and business meeting. Are there any changes or additions? Seeing none, they will stand approved as written. The first item on our agenda tonight is subdivisions. Final plat of Hunters Creek Edition. What is city staff's recommendation?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, our first subdivision public hearing is to consider the final plat of Hunters Creek Edition, Phase 1. Phase 1 covers approximately 82 acres and consists of 54 residential lots. The plat has been reviewed and planning staff recommends approval with conditions of the final plat of Hunters Creek Edition, Phase 1, subject to the corrections outlined in the February 21st, 2025 review letter.
Okay. Is the applicant or his or her representative here to speak on behalf of this item? Is anyone here to speak in opposition to this item? Hearing none, we will close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Move that we approve with conditions based on staff findings.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Vickers. Please poll the commission.
Allen?
Yay.
Campbell?
Yes.
Embry?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Vickers? Yes. Cole?
Yes. For the preliminary plat of the Waco Gateway Edition, what is city staff's recommendation?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, our second subdivision public hearing is to consider the preliminary plat of the Waco Gateway Edition, which covers a portion of the previously approved preliminary plat of the M&M Industrial Park subdivision. The property is located within the city of Waco between Bagby Avenue and I-35 and consists of 7 lots and the extension of the Gateway Boulevard right-of-way. The plat has been reviewed by the planning staff, and planning recommends approval of the preliminary plat of the Waco Gateway Edition as noted in the February 25th, 2025 review letter.
Thank you. Is the applicant or their representative here to speak on behalf of this item? I think
Only if you want to.
Yeah, we'll let you make a rebuttal if someone opposes. Is anyone here to speak in opposition to this item? Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Move to approve based on staff findings.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lane, second by Mr. Smith. Please poll the commission.
Allen?
Yay.
Campbell?
Yes.
Embry?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Vickers? Yes. Cole?
Yes. For the next item on our agenda, and zoning applications, item Z-25-7, I will recuse myself from the vote. What is city staff's recommendation?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a public hearing from Corey Dickman on a request for renewal of a special permit for a flea market at C4 zoning district for property located at 419 South 11th Street. Planning Services mailed out 20 notices and had 0 returned at the time of report preparation. Planning Services recommends approval of the renewal of the special permit subject to the special provisions and conditions and based on the following findings. 1, that the proposed use is consistent with the comprehensive plan. 2, that the proposed use is compatible with the appropriate and orderly development of the area in which it is located. 3, that the proposed use would not be more objectionable to neighboring properties because of traffic congestion, noise, fumes, vibrations, or any other characteristics than any use permitted in the zoning district without the grant of a special exception. 4, that available community facilities and services included in the road systems providing access to the proposed use are adequate for the proposed use. These findings are required for granting a special permit as per section 28-122 of the City of Waco zoning ordinance. Staff recommends the provision and conditions noted under the special provision and conditions section of this report. These are the special provisions and conditions as previously approved, except for item 9 regarding the permit expiration. Since the use has not yet been established, staff recommends the following condition of permit exception. 9, this permit shall be granted for 6 months after the final building inspection or upon being issued a certificate of occupancy, whichever is required last, but not to exceed 2 years after the issuance of a special permit. At the expiration of said period, the permittee shall make an application for renewal of said special permit. If the permit is not renewed, it will be considered abandoned and terminated, and the lawful use of the said premises shall conform to the use of which it is zoned under the City of Waco zoning ordinance.
Thank you. Is the applicant or their representative here to speak on behalf of this item? Okay, is there anyone here to speak in opposition to this item? Okay, hearing none, we will close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the special permit renewal with the special provisions and conditions recommended by city staff,
Second.
as written.
Motion by Mr. Embry, second by Mr. Lane. Please poll the commission.
Allen?
Yay.
Campbell?
Yes.
Embry?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Vickers?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes. For item Z-25-3,
Don't you recuse from that one?
oh, sorry. Item Z-25-3, what is city staff's recommendation?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a public hearing from Bernadette Hookham on behalf of RBDR Architects on behalf of Patrick J. Carley at Baylor University on a request to rezone approximately 3.37 acres from R1B to O2 for property described as Lot 1, Block Z of the Edgefield Park Addition known as 90 Bagby Avenue, property ID 171627. Planning Services mailed out 29 notices and had 0 returned at the time of report preparation. Planning Services recommends approval of this request to change the zoning from R1B to O2 based on the following findings. 1, the proposed zoning is in keeping with the land use component of the comprehensive plan. 2, the public infrastructure is adequate to provide for uses allowed in the O2 zoning district. 3, the property meets all area and width requirements for the O2 zoning district. And 4, there is O2 adjacent to the subject property, and it is the dominant zoning of the Baylor University campus.
Thank you. Is the applicant or their representative here to speak? If you just state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name's Bernadette Hookham. I'm with RBDR Architects. And like you said, I'm here on behalf of Baylor University. As you noted, we are asking Commission to consider the rezoning of this property. We would continue the process with Baylor's campus master plan, which is all O2 right now for the majority of the non-areas that don't have homes on them. Baylor's current use of the property, which is seasonal marching band practice and a sports and recreation area for students, would not change. That would be continuing on as long as we know. So do you have any questions?
Would you care to comment on the proposed use of why y'all need the new zoning?
Because Baylor's already, majority of the work of their space is O2, so it's just continuing their master plan, which is to make all their properties that don't have houses on them as an O2 property.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. Is there anybody else that would like to speak on behalf of this item? Anyone like to speak in opposition to this item? Please just state your name and address.
Reese Flood, 1806 South First Street. I represent 1806 South First Street and 1800 South First Street, which is across the street from the field in question. We really have no objection to the rezoning of the field itself. However, our two properties do fall in the notice zone. These are two privately owned properties. I think the only two that aren't owned by Baylor at the time. And we're just looking for some reassurance and confirmation that these two privately held properties will not be affected by any changes in zoning.
City staff, would you care to respond?
So for this request, it would only be for this particular property at 90 Bagby. It wouldn't include any property that is out, that's not owned, I would say, by Baylor.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're within the dotted lines. We're two residences, but just needed that reassurance.
Definitely, no problem.
If I may clarify, that the dotted line is the 200-foot notice requirement that we're required to send.
Very good. Appreciate it.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak in opposition?
I'm Dr. Charlie Bayless of 1704 Plum Circle, and good evening. I'm a professor of electrical and computer engineering at Baylor, as well as a resident in Baylor's faculty neighborhood known as Edgefield. My property partially backs up to the lot proposed for rezoning. I live at 1704 Plum Circle with my wife and our two sons, ages 4 years and 9 months. I'm here to speak against the motion of converting the zoning of this lot to O2. By converting the zoning, the city of Waco has indicated that the traffic on Bagby Avenue behind our house could more than double, from the current 1,600 vehicles per day to 3,600 vehicles per day. Further, it appears likely that a commercial construction on this property could also include access through Cottonwood Street, the main street through our neighborhood. This would astronomically increase the traffic down our neighborhood street and make it unsafe for our children to ride their bicycles or go to friends' houses to play. Many of my other neighbors also have school-aged and preschool children, and we have a special needs child in our neighborhood. Our children will be the losers in a decision to rezone. Since the last Plan Commission meeting, in which I also spoke in opposition to this motion, I've done my homework and conversed via email with Baylor on this topic. And Baylor's responses have not convinced me that rezoning is a good idea. I'd like to make two main arguments for this point. First, Baylor has stated to me, consistent with Ms. Hookham's statement, that it is simply trying to bring the property to an equivalent zoning with its other properties and has no plans to do anything immediate to the property. If there are no plans to do anything to the property, why would Baylor take the time and effort to get the property rezoned? We rezone properties when we want to do something different with them, not simply for the convenience of portfolio consistency. You, as the commission, are making a decision to rezone this property, and this is our last chance to speak up on preventing some type of commercial construction from going up behind our house. If Baylor changes its mind down the road, we have no opportunity as the neighborhood to speak up beyond this point. So I'm asking you as the commission, when you hear Ms. Hookham speak on this, what she's saying is there is no need to rezone. Baylor plans to continue to use this land exactly as they have, and we would ask you to make that decision. Second, while Baylor claims no traffic increase will occur in the immediate future, which may be true, there will be a significant increase if a reasonable structure is built following the new zoning at some point. If Baylor decides at some point to erect a parking garage or an apartment complex on this property, or even sell it to someone who will, we, the residents, will have, as I mentioned, no recourse to come back to the city to ask for help. Our only opportunity to do this is today at this rezoning hearing. In rezoning, we can't take someone's word for it. The zoning hearing should consider the full implications of the new types of allowable structures that can be built on the property. Our neighborhood and our children cannot afford a street with cars streaming to a new commercial structure. Our children will be endangered and our land and structure values will go down. As residents, we ask the Planning Commission to realize Baylor is saying we don't really need to do anything with this property, and look at our ability to be able to respond is now, and we ask the Planning Commission to rule against this motion to rezone. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in opposition to this item? Would the applicant's representative like to make a rebuttal? Yeah, if you can, that'd be great.
Bernadette Hookham with RBDR Architects. There's properties that are adjacent to it right now that are empty, but were rezoned to O2. And it's just to try to keep Baylor's properties to all be O2. I mean, it's nothing more than that. So, I mean, there is no plans right now for doing any building on that I know of. So I don't know what else you need to know, so.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions?
We have another person here who'd like to speak against. Is it possible to insert that at this time?
Yeah. Please just state your name and address for the record.
Dr. Brian Shaw, 84 Hackberry. I also lived at 65 Hackberry and 85 Hackberry. So I've been in the neighborhood for about 15 years. And I mean, I'm not an expert on the law or what zoning laws are for, but I didn't think they were to, give universities, convenient portfolios. So there's a lot of kids in the neighborhood. There's a lot of hearing impaired, visually impaired kids in the neighborhood. They play. It's become a pretty young neighborhood, and so we're pretty worried about the traffic that might result if something gets built there. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you. Okay, if there are no questions from the commissioners, we'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I have a question for city staff. That's okay. It looks like, according to the ordinances, the current use, is that permitted as a for a recreational field and for R1B? It looks like bringing it into O2 would be bringing it into compliance, because it doesn't look like it works with R1B.
Yeah, right now it is just a park, so the park use would be permitted in an R1B zoning district,
The park isn't that municipal, and this would be private?
private or public park.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? Okay, we will entertain a motion.
I move to approve based on staff findings.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Lane, a second by Mr. Campbell.
Allen.
By Mr. Allen. Please poll the commission.
Allen?
Yay.
Campbell?
Yes.
Embry?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes. For item Z-25-5, what is city staff's recommendation?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a public hearing for approval of a final PUD for the development of a car wash from Kyrillos Philippos and Anna Carrillo of Carrillo Engineering on behalf of Robert S. Horton on approximately 0.97 acres described as a portion of Lot 8 and all of Lot 9, Block 5 of the Saddle Creek Addition, known as 1001 China Spring Road, property ID 340533. Planning Services mailed out 6 notices and had 0 return at the time of report preparation. Planning Services recommends approval of the final PUD based on the following findings and conditions. Findings 1, the final PUD plan is consistent with the approved concept PUD plan conditions of the approved concept PUD plan and the requirements of the PUD ordinance. 2, the circulation plan, public facilities and services plan, preliminary architectural plan, and site development and landscaping plan included in the final PUD plan are adequate. Conditions, number 1, the final PUD plan must meet all the development standards consistent with the concept PUD plan and the site requirements of the review committee, including but not limited to the following: site grading and drainage, signage regulations, parking, site coverage, access and circulation, gating, landscaping, refuse location, and access and fire protection location and access. 2, the property shall be platted in accordance with the subdivision ordinance prior to the issuance of building permits. 3, a car wash establishment shall be limited at the portion of Lot 8 and Lot 9 as shown on the provided site plan. 4, hours of operation shall be limited to 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 5, all site lighting must be directed toward the establishment and not adjacent properties.
Thank you. Is the applicant or their representative here to speak on behalf of this item? Thank you. Is anyone here to speak in opposition to this item? Okay. Hearing none, we will close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve with the conditions based on staff findings.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Embry, a second by Mr. Vickers. Please poll the commission.
Allen?
Yay.
Campbell?
Yes.
Embry?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Vickers?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes. Item Z-25-6, what is city staff's recommendation?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a public hearing from Matt Lishek of Kimley Horn and Associates on a request to consider the following: a land use, zoning changes of land situated within the Carlos Ocampo survey, abstract number 32, McLennan County, Texas, being the called 152.71 acre tract of land described in the special warranty deed with a vendor's lien to Pecriff Waco Gateway LLC, undivided 68.33% interest, Cunningham interest, 2, limited undivided 29.63 interest, and Brown Capital Group LLC, undivided 2.04% interest, recorded in document number 2023034072 of the official public records of McLennan County, Texas, and being shown as lots 1, 4, 5, and 7 of the proposed Waco Gateway addition. Planning Services recommends approval of this request to change the land use plan from industrial to office industrial flex. Let me start this one over again, sorry. 1, changing the land use designation from the industrial office, from industrial to office industrial flex on the above described 4 parcels of land being approximately 42.01 total acres. 2, changing the zoning from M2 to C2 on 3 parcels of the above described land, proposed lots 1, 5, and 7 being approximately 19.01 total acres. And 3, changing the zoning from M2 to O2 on 1 parcel of the above described land, proposed lot 4 being approximately 23 acres. Planning Services recommends approval of this request to change the land use plan from industrial to office industrial flex for approximately 42.01 acres based on the following findings. 1, the public infrastructure is adequate to provide for zoning districts allowed in the proposed office industrial flex land use designation. 2, office industrial flex designation is consistent with surrounding land uses and the other area properties that are already designated as office industrial flex. Planning Services also recommends approval of this request to change the zoning of approximately 19.0 acres from M2 to C2 and approximately 23 acres from M2 to O2 based on the following findings. 1, the proposed zoning is in keeping with the land use component of the comprehensive plan is recommended to be revised. 2, the existing and planned public infrastructure is generally adequate to provide for the uses allowed in the C2 and O2 zoning districts. 3, the property meets all area and width requirements for the C2 and O2 zoning districts. 4, the proposed C2 and O2 zoning is compatible with the surrounding area and the other uses along the major thoroughfares, I-35, Bagby Avenue, the proposed Gateway Boulevard extension.
Thank you. Is the applicant or is there a representative here to speak on behalf of this item? Thank you. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition to this item? Okay, hearing none, we will close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve per city staff recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Vickers, a second by Mr. Lane. Please poll the commission.
Allen?
Yay.
Campbell?
Yes.
Embry?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Vickers?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes. The last item on our agenda tonight, we are going to postpone until the next meeting, which is election of officers for chair and vice chair, since we only had quorum by one vote. And just a reminder to those still here, anything except for the plats tonight is just a recommendation to council, so you have another chance to speak on this on Tuesday, March 18th at City Council. We will adjourn.